while we're doing this, let's take a minute. What did you guys think of the arena yesterday? I have my thoughts and opinions on it. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. How did you feel Arena version 2.0 went? See, now I'm getting 2.1 million because I've got the extra officer slot and a little bit extra bonus there. I'm also using a faction ship, so I'm getting an FKR bonus because I'm getting a Romulan bonus from using a Romulan ship. And these things are dying a lot easier. I could probably stay out here and farm these guys at 2 million rep points for the full 28-minute timer. Retro, you were too stressed out to try it. You're going to wait for next week. Sorry to hear you're stressed out, but understandable. It was certainly adding some frustrations for some players as well. Fighting Hawk didn't try it. Samo prefers the 3v3. I think it made the actual gameplay within the battle more fun and more interesting, 3 versus 3. I like that aspect of it. I think that was a good change. The matchmaking with 3 versus 3 got way more wonky, I think maybe the appropriate word. Brain Soup says not even close, some of the matches. Joe says it's just another chore, not really very fun. Fox doesn't have really anybody else in their alliance to play with because you're op 65, so trying to even find people that are within 7 levels of you is a challenge. I've heard a couple people say that, obviously. If you're way ahead of your alliance, yeah, this is going to be just, no matter how they slice this mechanic, it's just going to be pretty bad for you to put together a group and a team. You just have to wait. The rest of your people are going to have to catch up. You know what? Don't buy packs for yourself anymore. Buy them some packs so they can catch up faster. No, don't do that. Definitely easier to form squads. Now, that being said, more squads meant more instances. And that caused some concerns that I had on Sunday when we were talking about this, was that the more instances were going to create more lag, more glitches, and more, things like that. And there was a lot of times where people were rubber banding all over the screen, or, you'd try and click on something and it wouldn't work and you'd have to go out and go back in, or the game would just crash and kick you out altogether. And whether that is directly related to the fact that, if you went from, there were more players participating this time around. I think the numbers went up like 8,000 people total compared to last week. APAC stayed the same from the chart I saw earlier today. APAC stayed about the same. EU and US both added about 4,000 players each. So instead of, I think there were 21,000 people who participated in the first week, and there were 29,000 who participated this time around. So that could be certainly a testament to the 3v3 matching system, being able to find more teams, get more people involved. They shifted the times a little bit. Maybe that made enough of a difference for some people to get involved. Maybe people just didn't understand how it worked last week and didn't want to bother with it, and now they find out, like, okay, there's some cool prizes in this store. Maybe it is worth paying attention to. But for me personally, the matchmaking was a lot more lopsided this time around, and there were a lot more technical issues when actually within the fight. So Ryan likes the gameplay of 5-on-5 more, but definitely easier to form a squad. Yep, sure. Yep. Nevin says it was absolutely perfect, except for the bad matchmaking, the rubber banding ships not being able to target, ship stuck in warp, disconnects, lag. So, yeah, perfect. Oh, I see what you did there. It was just snafu, right? Situation normal, all effed up. Rucker thinks that Scopely should explain. Well, you're already. I'm not even going to have to read the rest of this because the answer to that was already no. All right, hang on. Let's keep going. Scopely should explain the matchmaking calculation and show each team the MM number at the start of a match. The matchmaking number, like how it came up with it. That would be interesting to have that information revealed. I know the NDA content creators have gotten some more specific information about how the formula works. DJ was talking about it last night, but of course had to say, I'm not allowed to actually share the formula with you guys, though. I can only speak in vague, generic terms about it. Which he did, giving us a little bit of an insight about what's going on there. What's up, Mosher? And all your Raiders coming on in. Thank you very much for that. Good evening, everybody. Big fan of my videos. Helped you a lot. Fantastic. Thank you for watching and saying so. It's always nice to know that people are actually benefiting from the content I've made over the last 4 years. So appreciate you popping on in. And hope you have a great day wherever else you're running off to. What were you playing? You were playing some Star Trek Fleet Command 2. Awesome. I don't know Moshcraft. I've seen Moshcraft, I think. Maybe I've seen the name around. It looks familiar. I'll have to do some investigating. Let me write that down. So, Scopely math, yeah. The highest ranked in EU from our alliance is Ops 46, who could really get teams going. Middle of your day. And, okay, yeah. Definitely lots of tech issues. That was for sure. I went 0-5 and then gave up. So it was myself at level 58, and I paired up with a 56 and a 59 for my alliance. All 5 games, at least one, if not more, of the other players on the opposing team was 61 or above. And there is a drastic power difference between a 58 and a 59 versus a 61. The G6, the G5 Epic alone is at least double, if not triple, in power, right? Like I could take my Sanctus right now is 500 million. And if I kept pushing it, I could get it up 600, 700, maybe even 800 million. A level 60 can take a G5 Epic to double that power. They can get to 1.5 billion power off of an Epic if they get it up high enough. And when you get to 61, you start factoring in some of that other research and things and bonuses that they get from having buildings and things in that G6 range, they can get even higher. And when you get a 63 or a 64, which we also had to play against, not only is their G6 uncommon ship now 3 billion power, but their Borg cube is also now a ridiculous power level as well. To the point where they're zapping you from across the system for significant damage, if not killing you perhaps outright altogether. So that, you know, the matchmaking formula is supposed to evenly take into account the average level of the 3 players in your group, the level of the person who started the group, and the arena rankings. So whether you're bronze or silver or whatever you're at. And that's what it's supposed to weigh those numbers all in together. And then it's supposed to find somebody close to that number. Now, that's a very, generic, vague description. How close are we talking about with that? If you're converting them all into a number or mathematical equation and saying, okay, your team is valued at 57. What are we looking for here? You looking for another team that's a 57? You looking for another team that's as far as 60 points, 70 points, 100 points? Like, what do you consider close that you're doing that match? I get you don't want people to be stuck in a queue for hours waiting to find another opponent, but does it really serve them any purpose if you put them in a match that they can't possibly win? Doesn't that piss them off more? Because now, like, well, yes, you still get the 400 credits that you can use for the refinery turn in, but I'm also guaranteed now to lose rating points. And if I'm trying to move up in rank so I can get to the higher tier where the better stuff is, if you constantly keep putting me in lopsided matches because you're like, well, we don't want you to have to wait 5 extra minutes for an opponent, I'd rather wait 5 minutes for a fight I can be competitive in than just keep getting thrown like a lamb to the slaughter here. Just so it's, well, we cut the queue times in half. Aren't we great? No. You're actually making the problem worse. So, Star Trek, you're Ops 59. Does that mean you could be fighting Ops 60 plus in arenas? Oh, most definitely. I mean, you could actually potentially be fighting a 70. Because if the person, if you're 59 and you started a group and you can have players in your group as high as 66 and as low as 52, you could end up getting paired up against a guy who was a 64 who started a group and has a 70. Because, that's going to be a fun matchup. That's going to be, yeah, we're just going to sit here and just let them win. It should take them about 6 minutes to run through, kill all the, solo armadas, do the group armadas, and get to the 1,000 points. It should take them about 6 minutes or so. That we'll just sit here before we, we're going to sit here for 6 minutes watching them win because Scopely didn't want us to sit in the queue for 5 minutes waiting for an opponent. That was more evenly matched. Did anybody bring that up in the meeting? Anybody want to bring that one, spitball that idea, throw that around? There's some feedback for you. There's a suggestion for you. Are you really saving me time? No, actually, now you're costing me time. Because instead of waiting for 5 minutes for a good match, I'm waiting 6 minutes to let that other team kick my ass and let me lose rating points so I can get back into the queue and try again. Do all the credits get wiped after? Nope. Nope. It's the same currency, same credits, unlike the Alliance tournament, which who knows what's going on with that. These credits do stick over, So I lost 5 games. Every game I lost, I got 400 arena Terran whatever turn-ins. So I got 400 arena emblems every time I lost. I lost 5 times. I got 2,000 emblems. I can come in here and I can do these claims. And this will get me a little bit of this. So the problem with the matchmaking is it took way too heavily. It weighted the arena ranking. It took this too high into consideration. So if you played last week when not a lot of people were playing and you built your ranking up to like bronze 2 or bronze 1 or even got to silver, even if you were like if I was a level 53 and I got to silver and I happened to get into a group with a 58, in my alliance because we could do that, it wouldn't think like, oh, you're a 53, you're probably not going to be able to punch up that high and take on some of these bigger ships. To be like, oh wow, your ranking is silver, you must be good at PvP. We can go ahead and put you in a group against a fight against the 64. Because, that 64 didn't play a lot last week or didn't play at all. So they're still bronze 4. You're silver. They're bronze. You're better at PvP than they are. No, that's not how that works. Maybe if all things were equal, if I'm a 64 and I'm a silver and you're a 64 and you're a bronze, yeah, chances are I'm better at PvP than you. Or at least I do it more often. But if you're a 64 and I'm a 53, you can kill me with one of your mining ships. Your Selkie could kill me. No joke. You could probably kill me with a Selkie. So let's see what you guys had to say here. Half the lopsided matches should be ones you easily win. Only if you're on the receiving end of the lopsidedness. It's kind of like running the NX01 hostels, right? It's a 30% chance you're going to get death raid. I mean, you can run 5 or 10 in a row and get death raid every one. I think Rev's record was, what, 7 in a row? he got insta-killed before he ran out of tokens. Samo's up to 54. Congrats. You were in matches with 64 and 65 players? Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty lopsided. Zero G is Ops 54, and I'm sorry, Ops 45. Ended up in a match against a 56. Not a lot you can do about that, right? My 56 shows up with my 500 million Sanctus against your anything G4. You're not going to have a snowball's chance in hell of doing anything in that fight. So you're just going to sit there for 6 minutes while me and my team run our solo armadas and win. Mad Hatter's Ops 46. He joined a team led by a guy who's 53, and they got paired up against a bunch of 60s. Yep, because that's within that plus or minus 7. Absolutely. Napalm ended up winning a match because the 51 that he was paired up against as a level 41 was more interested in chasing them around trying to get PvP kills than actually doing armadas and scoring points. So you went the full 10 minutes and managed to win 400 to 200. So neither of you got enough points to actually end the match. You just, dink and dunked your way around the field for 10 minutes, picking up little bits of points here and there while he chased you, and managed to get a point win there. Good job, good strategy. Just keep running away, making them chase you, picking up everybody else picking up points. Sure. Max, what's going on? Brain Soup thinks that the arena ranking is too new to be a reliable metric. I agree. It should eventually separate itself, but given it's going to take, what, 2 or 3 months really before enough people gain access to the content and the feature. So honestly, for the rest of the year, they should dial that down. Instead of it being like a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 distribution, it should be like 45, 45, 45% the starters ranking, 45% the overall average levels, and like that last 10% should be their arena rankings. Just cut that way down. And after 2 or 3 months, you can move that up and make that more of a priority. Because as of right now, too many people don't have rankings or have very low rankings because they really haven't participated in the content. So you have these 70s that are bronze 4, and you're like, oh, well, that's fair. We can pair you up against them because they're bronze 4. They must suck at PvP. It's like, or they just didn't do it last week. But they're level 70, and I'm level 58. No. You're higher ranked than them, so you should be good. Darth says, last week was very fun. When you got 5, you could try a variety of strats. Sure. Much easier to find a group, but it definitely becomes get in there and kill fast and, yep. Get a couple kills. Get them either burning their repair speed ups or get their better ships in the repair queue. Make them have to use substandard ships, which you could possibly also PvP and get them dumped and get those 2-minute repair times. There were times where there was nobody in, like we killed everybody, and set some armadas, and they came back and we killed them all again. And then it was just like we had the system to ourselves for 2 minutes. And we're like, oh, I guess they gave up. And it was like, nope, because here comes another wave of ships because they were just repairing still. We're like, okay. That's what I saw yesterday. That was on my EU account, which had a much better matchup. My level 49 account had much better matchups, more winnable matchups. We took 49, 49, and 42 into a fight and actually beat a couple of 51s and stuff like that. Nobody had G4 epics. So they had bigger, like, their Talios and stuff was bigger. Their Pylum was like 90 or 100 million compared to my Pylum, which was only like 65 million. But we're still talking same level, same class of ship. So we had some good fights and snuck out some wins over there. I think I went like 4-2 on that server, which was pretty good. This one, obviously, yeah, did not have really any matchups that were even winnable. The only option you have sometimes when you're playing those players is if they do something like that, like Napalm was describing, or they just don't know quite what they're doing. They don't know how to play their size. If they're a 61 and they're putting a speed crew on like a Borg cube, and their Borg cube is like 2 billion power, yeah, you're screwed. They know what they're doing. They're flying all over the place, and they're gonna kill you any chance they get. And you have to take advantage of bugs and glitches and banding and things like that to lose them, to screw with the targeting sequence. Like I don't want to try and exploit my way to a win, or even exploit my way to survive and make a more of a better showing. So I don't lose 1,000 to 100. I lose 1,000 to 200. It's a moral victory because I got a few extra kills in, or a few extra solo armadas in because I tricked them because of the lag and rubber banding. Tricky almost felt bad in a few matchups. Yeah. Speed crew on a max scimitar. Yep, exactly. If a G6 is playing like a G6, you're in trouble. Sambo wishes that more things in the faction store were based off of your faction rep and not your arena ranking. That would make the experience more palatable for people, because then you wouldn't mind losing as much, right? Because at least you're still getting the currency, you can still do the turn-ins, you can still get to the thing you want. But when you have to win games to move up rank to get to the thing that you want, that's where this matchmaking becomes a lot more frustrating.